Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhara Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhara Hari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Munadira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Nidai Gaura Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parijatikari Stotra Tadachival is divine grace Abhay Charanar Vinde A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parijatikari Stotra Tadachival is divine grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanande all girls assemble devotees all girls assemble devotees all girls Shri Guru and Gauranga all girls Prabhupada Ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirahe Nastaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming this morning. Srimad Bhagavatam class. Very nice to see you all. So today we are going to discuss on a couple of verses on Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 55th chapter, 37 to 39. So first we will chant 37th verse. Touch, please repeat after me. Touch Shrutva Mahat Ascharyam Krishnataha Pura Yogishta Abhiyanandan Bhuvan Abandhan Nastam Mrityam Ivargatam Tachutva Mahat Ascharya Krishnat Purayoistaha Abhiyandan Bahun Abandhan Nastam Mrityam Ivangatam Tachutva Mahad Acharyam Krishnat Purayoistaha Abhiyandan Bahun Abdan Nistam Ratyum Ivagatam Tachutva Mahad Acharyam Krishnat Purayoistaha Abhiyandan Bahun Abandhan Nastam Nityam Ivangatam. Please chant. Tachyatva Mahadascharya Krishna Purayoshitaha Abhiyandan Bahunavadan Nastamohan Ivangatam. Tachyatva Mahadascharya Krishna Purayoshitaha Abhiyandan Bahunavadan Nastam Nityam Ivangatam. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Please repeat after me. Tad, that, Shrutva, hearing, Mahat, great, Ascharyam, wonder, Krishna Anantapura, of the Lord's Krishna's personal residence. Yostitaham, the woman, Abhyandhan, they greeted, Abhun, for many, Abandhan, years, Nastam, last, Mritam, someone dead, Iva, as if, Agatam, return. Translation. When when the women of the Lord Krishna's palace heard this most amazing account, they joyfully greeted Pradyumna, who had been lost for many years but who had now returned as if from the dead. There is no purport for this. We will recite 38 and 39. 38 text. Devaki and Vasudeva, Krishna, Balarama, and all the women of the palaces, especially the Queen Rukmini, embraced the young couple and rejoiced. This is text 38 and text 39. Hearing that last Pradyumna had come home, the residents of Dwaraka declared, Ah, Providence has allowed this child to return from as if from the dead. So today we'll discuss about these three verses. Basically, by translation, we can understand um, the last child has returned back. So we'll offer some prayers before reciting. Namज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सावृजातं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीअद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च कृष्णकरुणासिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे. So here we can understand when the beloved child of Lord Krishna's Pradyumna was under custody of Kauravas, especially Duryodhana. So after many years, he has been returned. So when a child returned after many years to home, the parents and the relatives and especially mother will be more happy. It's like their happiness is unlimited. It's not bounded. It's like unlimited. So as soon as they see the child Pradyumna with his newly married wife, and with his newly married couple. They feel so amazing and they greeted very much very happy. So imagine, like, if you have some got valuable jewelry or a valuable diamond or a valuable thing that you had and you lost somehow, and how much intense you will be or eager to search that thing, right? If someone gives you, oh, here is thing that you are looking for, and how much happiness you will get. So the same scenario, same situation is the women's of Lord Krishna's palace, especially the wives, especially the Rukmini, because she's a mother of Pradyumna, and she lost her son for many years, who had been lost for many years, but now has been returned, as if a dead person returned his life. Imagine, like, if a person who is dear and near to you, he lost his life, you came to know that he is alive again. Oh, you will be overwhelmed with joyful. Of course, some people, if somebody died and they go up morose and they feel sad, and if they come to know that that person has been alive, then even they even will get into depressed. Oh, why this person again I came alive? you know Sometimes it happens, right? you know like especially the coma patients, if a person is there in coma for many many years, their relatives, their family members, they will be sorrow, they will be they'll feel sad for some extent, and they will conclude themselves, okay, now so and so person will die and he will not come into coma. And when they came to know that from doctors, or this person has come alive, then instead of feeling happiness, they will feel shock. Oh, why this person again, he will give more headache. So that kind of attitude we find in this age of material, in this age of Kali Yuga, because this is due to the lack of Krishna consciousness in the family, in the society. One may ask, why lack of Krishna consciousness? If you have a Krishna consciousness family, if you have Krishna consciousness relationship, then that relationship is not or no more mundane. That relationship is always transcendental, spiritual, because we identify each of us with a spirit soul, the same spirit soul which now we are interacting, or which we are dealing. We are going to be seeing him eternally in the Goloka Vrindavan. So that's why we should have a nice relationship with each other, so that we don't have any disturbances. So that is the intention. That is the intention behind being Krishna consciousness. If you're having a material relationship, a father child, it is like a father is looking after his child. So, what intention? The one, maybe initially he will invest so much time, energy, money, and love, so that at the old age of his father, son will take care of him, and that is the intention. That is the intention. The father takes care of child usually. Of course, there is a love also, but sometimes what happens? Son is looking after father's property. Basically, why he takes care of, okay, after my departure, my son will take care of my property, or son will think after my father's departure, I will take care of his property. There is a need of there is a need of some material thing. There is a greed, need. These are all the things based on the relationship was established. But here, if we see Lord Krishna's son, when he's returned, so they were feeling so much joyful, so much happiness, because they are very near and dear. In the relationship, it's not based on material. It's not, okay, my son will return now, and he will give me so much so much money, or he will take me somewhere, or he will take care of kingdom. There is no material relationship here in this case. Whereas most of the materialistic people, they have some hidden agendas, hidden motives. May not be most of the cases. Some cases we see a father is killing the child, a son is killing child because he wants to grab that property. That greediness is there. There is a saying, earth can fulfill man's need, but cannot fulfill man's greed. This earth has abundant material things or abundant things, needs that can fulfill the needs of man, but it cannot fulfill the man's greed. So here we see that the whereas Pradyumna case is entirely total opposite to the material situation. We will just read the what other Acharya comments on this for the text 37. Mahat Ascharyam should be Mahat Ascharyam, Maha Ascharyam. Instead of Mahat Ascharyam, it's Maha Ascharyam. Because Mahat Ascharyam means amazing. Maha Ascharyam is even more amazing. Maha, it's like we say mm, Maha Bhagavat or Mahaprasadam. Why we say Mahaprasadam? Because it is honored by Lord. Something which is touched by Lord, it will become Maha, more amazing. We can say Mahat Ascharyam. It's like, okay, it's amazing, but it is Maha Ascharyam. Mahaprasade Govinde, that's how I say. So they welcomed him as described. He had been disappeared and was thus as if dead. And you know, a dead person was returned. Now he had again returned it from the death. The women were overjoyed with astonishment and being shown Pradyumna's greatness by his relationship with Krishna. The child very beloved and very dear to all the people, especially his mother. And we see Sanatana Goswami, another Acharya, he comments on this verse. All the women of the inner chamber belonging to Krishna, directly the Supreme Lord, including the unlimited servants, girls, and friends, welcomed him, praising his glories of actions, or having recovered him, they were completely happy. The same thing which is repeated, like Sanatana Goswami says that all the inner chambers of the Lord Krishna's palace are personal associates or expansions of Lord Krishna, expansion of Srimati Radharani, especially, and the servants, girl, friends are all there. They praising his actions, what he has done, and or having recovered him, they were completely happy. It's not that okay, he has returned, will feel some satisfaction. No, they're completely happy. Because for them, Pradyumna is a jewel, diamond. It has been lost for many years, and now it has been returned. Now we'll see text 38. Devaki, Vasudeva, Krishna, Balarama, and all women of the palaces, especially Queen Rukmini, embraced the young couple and rejoiced. Because the Pradyumnas has returned with his wife, newly married wife. You know, actually the story behind is Pradyumna went to uh, Duryodhana's palace to capture Duryodhana's daughter, and the same thing how Lord Krishna uh, kidnapped Rukmini in the same situation, same like action, same style. He also wants to kidnap the uh, daughter of Duryodhana, but he was caught, unfortunately. Um, so when he was caught, unfortunately, then Balrama went there to establish peace talk, and he did something extraordinary thing, and they agreed to give his daughter to Pradyumna. So he came back with his new wife, married wife. So Jiva Goswami says that Jiva Goswami mentioned Devaki is mentioned first since she had most affection as a parental grandmother. Balarama is mentioned last since he has arrived last. The queens of the Rukmini are mentioned at the end because they remained behind in order to embrace him from a long time, or they arrived late because of attachment, which made them helpless from their great affection, or the woman desired to please the couple in front of all others. Okay. Here it is mentioned why sequence it is mentioned. For example, if you want to address somebody, if they if in a uh, what you call in a seminar or in any occasion you want to address some VIPs, there will be an order. The reason behind is that first thing there might be a seniority preferences. They might have done some extraordinary work, or might be a great people. It is a sequence. That's why they address in order. For example, here we see first in the translation, 38th translation, Devaki's name was addressed because she is a grandmother of Pradyumna, and next Vasudeva, grandmother and grandfather, and next Krishna because he is a father, next Balarama, and next women queens of palaces, and next Rukmini Devi. Because this sequence is very very important, as we see in our day-to-day life when we um, chant holy name or we do kirtan. After kirtan we say Premadhani, correct? In the Premadhani, first we will start with Prabhupada, then his spiritual master, then his glories, then his spiritual master, then his spiritual master, then Gaurnitai, then Krishna, then Jagannath, then Krishna. The sequence is very very important. So similarly, here also sequence is important. First Devaki and Vasudeva are addressed because a grandson is more dear to the grandfather, his son. Sorry, grandson is more dear to his son. So if you find your grandfather, if you find your grandmother, they will like you more than their own son, because that is the affection. Because my son's son, it is already inbuilt in their system. They of course they like their son, but their grandson even more the affection will flow. Vasudeva and Devaki are the grandson, and Krishna and Balaram are father. Of course, Balaram is a stepfather, and palaces of women, they are also the mother and Queen Rukmini. It's how it is addressed. And we see text 39. Hearing that last Pradyumna had come, the residents of Dwaraka declared, Aha, Providence has allowed this child to return as if from the death. So Jiva Goswami also says the same thing in a different manner. All the residents of Dwaraka became joyful. They remembered the previous stories about him. And Sanatana Goswami also says the same thing. All the residents of the Dwaraka became joyful. Aho indicates astonishment. Ha indicates the joy. By fate, we are all most fortunate. Bala here means that they thought he was the stage of a new youth. Out of affection, they saw him as infant, or that infancy has been lost. So, by translation, you might understand Jiva Goswami also, and in the text 39, a person lost for many years, or person is returning from the death. they have been joyful, they became so happy, and they became so, you know, satisfied. Out of affection, they saw their beloved child and they embarrassed them, and it is their joy has no limits. That's what it is says. So there's nothing much to discuss about this one. If you have any comments, questions, you can take.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for this class.
Hare Krishna.
Uh, you mentioned that Pradyumna came to Dwaraka with wife Mayavati, and then he also goes to Hastinapur to get
Blessings.
get blessings, or you said that Lord Balram goes and because he's imprisoned by Duryodhana.
Yes.
So so I was just thinking, because in previous verses it mentioned that Pradyumna was an expansion of Pradyumna from spiritual world, and
Yeah.
how he's also he had a Sachidanand body, so how he can be imprisoned by people with all the material bodies, in
Bounded
Hastinapur.
by, you mean to say?
Yeah,
Bound by.
bound by people with material bodies. He has Sachidanand body.
Correct. Yeah, it is an. I think you must have read that. It's a first Krishna. From Krishna, immediate expansion is Balram. From Balram, Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. You mean to say this Pradyumna is the same thing? It is.
Plenary portion, one of those four.
Yeah.
So Krishna's son is an expansion of with all those potencies, and his body is Sachidanand. It's not
Correct.
material body. So
Correct.
I just was thinking how he can be imprisoned by people with material
Yes.
body.
See, a nice question. So, which is a very discussion. You brought a nice point. As a, you know, when we should understand two things here. Whenever Krishna descent in this material world, he doesn't come with an all opulences. When doesn't come in the all opulences means like he takes as a normal um, post as a human being, but he acts superficially. He can only do that. For example, if Krishna, uh, as soon as he born, we see that in the Krishna book we read that he born with the four hands. He didn't born with a two hands like a normal child. Of course, we see that Vasudeva and Devaki they prayed, please, make, be an ordinary child. By their prayers, he showed them two-hand form. First, he showed them four-hand form because he wants to make sure that I am the supreme personality of Godhead. That's why I have this opulence of four hands. So to make sure that the prayers which they did in their previous life, they want as a son, supreme personality of Godhead Himself, to make sure that they believe that they got a birth, they had a child, supreme personality of Godhead only, not anyone else. So after revealing the four hand forms, then he came back to two hand forms. So by this act, we can see Krishna is independent of doing anything for pleasure of his devotees. Similarly, his expansion also, why he was bounded with the Duryodhana with his material body, because he wants to show act in a such a way that even though even Krishna is different and his expansion has different. Now we see that Krishna has 90 qualities or 100 and some qualities, and his Balram has some less qualities, and his expansion has less qualities. Shiva has 76 qualities. I don't know that verse. It describes Krishna's qualities, number of Krishna qualities, Shiva qualities, and Brahma qualities, and living entity qualities. So there are different qualities. According to that, they act. To sometimes, and another reason, this is one reason, that even though the Supreme Personality of Godhead take place in this material world, he will, if out of his sweet will, he will act independently. It is not that he should act, if he acted as a four-hand form, then Mother Yashoda would have worshipped in the kept on the altar, and she should have worshipped on the altar. He will not take care as a normal child. That flow of affection will not be there. One time we see when Krishna ate mud, you know, in that pastime, he showed all the universes. So in that pastime, he showed his whole universe in his mouth, but immediately he covered with his Maya, so that the natural flow, natural affection for his child should be continued. It is not that when Krishna lifted Govardhana hill, and when Krishna danced on Kaliya, and when Krishna killed all the demons, Dhenukasura, immediately they were thinking that, oh, this child is not an ordinary child. He may be Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then immediately he covered that potency. When Krishna killed Putana, everyone was thinking that, oh, some demigods have protected my child. We should pray to the Lord Vishnu. In that, they think it's not that they thought that, oh, this baby is not an ordinary one, is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let us worship, keeping on the altar, or let them give him special affection. Then there will be no rasa, there will be no mellow between the mother and child. Between the if somebody in among our friends we come to know he's not a supreme, he's not a ordinary person, he's something great from us, then immediately your exchange, your dealings will be separated. Correct? Immediately it will be change. Imagine a person working with you in a colleague, you come to know tomorrow, oh, he's a son of so and such a great person, son of a president. Then immediately what will happen? Your dealings, your the way of talking, it will be changed. Why? Because you come to know that he is not an ordinary employee. So similarly, to cover that, Krishna has shown it. That is one reason. And second thing, his expansion will not carry the same potency. That is second reason. And third reason is, to make this pastime happen. If Pradyumna showed his real power, real potency, real shakti, real strength, Duryodhana is nowhere. Immediately he would have came from his palace. After he don't have to kidnap the Duryodhana's daughter. Immediately by his thinking, by his will, immediately the Duryodhana's daughter can come in his palace, and he would have married. There is no need of you know taking this much time, energy, going there, Hastinapur, kidnapping her, getting bound, taking pastime. There is nothing. He can be there in the spiritual world, he can be there in the Krishna's palace. Immediately he could have closed his eyes. Immediately he would have thought that Duryodhana's daughter, she should have appeared. Because to discuss the pastime, to narrate, to enhance that separation mood, these acharya, pastimes, it will happen. If imagine Krishna as soon as he born from the mother Devaki, sorry, from the mother Vasudeva and Devaki, he would have thought, let Kamsa will be killed. Immediately he will be killed. Then there is no pastime, there is no discussion of Bhagavatam. But here we see that Pradyumna is also, of course, is a preliminary portion of the expansion to make this pastime happen, to affection, to increase the affection of their mother, to increase their affection from their child. That's why these pastimes will take place. Otherwise, it would have, Krishna's son Pradyumna. He wants to marry uh, Duryodhana's wife, sorry, Duryodhana's daughter. Immediately, within one line, two lines, this pastime will be finished. There is no discussion. That's why Machita Madgata Purana Bodhayanta Paraspara. To discuss, to churn the pastime, to churn the love for the Rukmini. Pradyumna was, transformed into fish, fish womb, and the fish was cut by so and so. These pastimes. Yeah, this is the reason. Okay, we'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, I go, Hare Krishna.